Hi, you guys. Welcome to the weekly bump. I decided to just bring it back. I don't know what I was really waiting for. I already made up my mind I was going to keep it going, so here we are. Thank you guys for giving me that time to just sort of recalibrate a little bit. I needed it. I know a lot of you needed it as well. You know, this Venus retrograde has been surprising. I think a lot of us have been really shocked about what surfaced for us and the kinds of issues that we were really asked to work through. I know I was. I definitely know I was. Really asked to break a lot of my habits that I had before. If you guys want to know about it, shameless plug, please feel free to check out my new channel. I'll put a link in the description box down below so you guys can follow me there. It'll be like a video diary of my experiences and kind of all the experiments that I'm really doing with my own life and just sharing. It's just fun. It's something fun for me to do and something that could potentially be valuable for you guys as well. So let's start with the cards. We'll do the cards and then we'll talk about the stars. So why did the Nine of Swords come out? Well, I think the agitation has been real. You know, it has been, oh, happy Halloween, by the way. This card made me think of Halloween. You know, it has been surreal. And I know it's weird, not to project my friends' stuff onto you guys, but I've had two friends break up with their girlfriends recently. Two girlfriends break up with their boyfriends recently. And I mean, they were in really abusive relationships. And not everyone is like that. Obviously, I wasn't like that. But, you know, people that are needing to break free from stuff, they are absolutely breaking free. And it's so like, I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine. I said, look, you can either make this happen on your own and just kind of take your bumps up front and deal with the aftermath, or you can just let it happen to you. And it's so much better to just like, okay, well, if you know it's going to be done anyway, if you know it's something you have to do anyway, you might as well just do it and get it over with. Like, let's rip off the Band-Aid. There's no reason for us to just be lingering in this state of anxiety or self-pity or denial. Like, we can't deny it. It's too painful. You know, so who are we kidding? You know, we're not fooling anybody. We're only hurting ourselves. So, you know, let's make it through. Let's get this over with. It's rocky, it's hard. Let's have those hard conversations. Yes, we're moving into a Mercury retrograde, so it might be a little bit scary to do that right now. But you know what? Mercury retrograde or not, there's never a bad time to be truthful. There's never a bad time. It's maybe your delivery you need to be cognizant of. You can never control the way someone responds to you. So Mercury retrograde or not, it's always okay to be truthful. Why? Knight of Cups, Nine of Swords, pointing to the Knight of Cups. Maybe some of you are dealing with a water sign, maybe someone a bit evasive. Maybe you're dealing with someone that is annoyingly optimistic. And maybe they're kind of mirroring back to you your lack of optimism a little bit. Maybe they are really displaying character flaws within you that you really just, you don't like. If you're a more enlightened or a more awakened person, this won't be as severe. But still, like, even anything that we're dealing with, you know, Scorpio is a very jealous sign too. So if it's something like jealousy or envy, you know, if you're trying to progress in a certain way and you see someone else being successful with something and you're like, how can they be successful at this thing that I'm trying so hard to be successful in? You know, it's just dealing with that kind of stuff. Self-worth very much coming online for us, very much. Are we feeling a little bit depleted in our value? Are we feeling a little bit depleted, or are we kind of even disrespecting ourselves a little bit by not giving ourselves enough credit? By giving more power to the Nine of Swords versus to the Nine of Coins. Of course, the Nine of Coins is more positive. Nine of Coins is love and abundance and enjoying the prosperity that you created for yourself. So why is it that we're feeling this sort of need to replenish? Maybe there is an element of, you know, optimism coming out here. Not only are we getting the Knight of Cups, but we're also getting the Six of Cups as well. Six of Cups I see as maybe being a little bit too fantasy oriented or fantastical. But like it is always a reminder to live in the moment, to not live too much in the past, to find that forgiveness isn't really about forgiving them, right? Like a lot of times, like I'm reading a book called Recovery right now by Russell Brand, and he talks about the 12 steps and his process and his interpretation of these 12 steps. And at one point, he talks about the forgiveness step or making amends, which is step 9. And he discusses forgiveness as really being more than anything, being about forgiveness toward yourself. Because in turn, you likely behaved a certain way because you were feeling wrong and it was both wrong. Like both of you were not right in that situation. And I'm wondering if this is coming out as forgiveness and that there's a part of you that really doesn't want to forgive. There's a part of you that really doesn't want to wish that person well, right? To wish that person that hurt you so much, or to wish that situation or that business or whatever to succeed. And that in turn is just holding yourself back too. Now is an excellent time for making amends, especially with the Sagittarius stuff going on, to make amends and move on. You don't need to let this person steal your power, especially if they're just like happy and it doesn't bother them. But it's like, it's really, there's clearly something really bothering you, really eating you alive. A lot of forgiveness is, wow, getting a lot of reversals here. 8 of Coins reversed, 8 of Swords reversed. Well, okay, we get the Moon. Okay. Moon is easy. Moon is the confusing state because we just really can't see where this is all going. We never can, so it's not even really worth trying. The subconscious yearnings always kind of find their way up to the top in due time. Nothing can stay hidden forever. And I suspect that the Moon quality is making your relationships be a little bit odd. Like you're kind of sidestepping one another. Perhaps you are very in tune with each other's feelings, but nothing's really being said. There is an element of secrecy here. And if you're being secret about what's really bothering you, that can be a very dangerous combination. This is the type of stuff that manifests in actual physical illness, actual physical, issues. I would really, really recommend right now focusing on a lot of greens in your diet. I mean, that's obvious, obviously. But there seems to be a lack of that. And there's a couple of garden qualities coming out. So just because health was something that just came up for me, I'm going to say it. You might just not really be wanting to pay attention to that. Like that, your health might maybe seem a little bit on the back burner if you're not a consciously healthy person. So it's time to move that to the front burner, because by not eating well, you are just only hurting yourself. And this is what makes us sicker. So just make sure, and it's winter time now and people are going to start, it's cold weather season, especially in the northern hemisphere. So, there is sickness coming around. 8 of Coins, 8 of Swords reversed. 8 of Coins reversed. I know that it's probably hard to really focus on a lot of things right now. It's probably hard to be doing all the things that you really want to do or you really need to do. I often see the 8 of Coins as being someone who's just simply can't focus. That's all. Just simply can't focus. Maybe a little bit of ADD, maybe having a little bit, and I say ADD, right? Just kind of that bouncing mind sort of all over the place. Not really finishing anything that you start either, like going all in with something and then, letting it peter out. And again, maybe that's something that you've struggled with in the past and you're seeing someone else kind of doing well with that. They're succeeding in all of this. and you're like, what the heck? Like, why can't I do that? And then you're kind of piling that stuff back onto yourself. You know, it's really important for you to be aware of all these kinds of projections that we have going on within ourselves on any given moment of any given day. Eight of Swords, though, is that break free from prison. The mental prison that we create. It's breaking free really from this Nine of Swords. I'm happy that the Eight of Swords came out after Nine of Swords, because it's kind of like a depletion. Going from the 9 to the 8 is better going from the 8 than to the 9. So, you know, you're at least making your way back to the mental liberation, which is the Ace of Swords. Sorry. And the Ace of Swords reversed, Eight of Swords reversed. It feels like we can breathe again. We might not be able to see the whole picture, but we can at least see the steps right in front of us. And that's another thing with the moon too, is our path is illuminated in spite of us maybe not really being able to see everything entirely, but it is illuminated. And we absolutely can put one foot in front of the other. This is a one day at a time scenario, just like all of life. All of life is a one day at a time scenario. We don't have control over that. We have to take it one day at a time. So looking at your life moment to moment puts a lot less pressure on you, right? Rather than you see the end result and you're like, I want to get all the way there. I want to have all this stuff. I want to have achieved all this stuff, and then having all this pressure that you're not there yet. Well, let's scale it back, because you're probably putting unnecessary, things in your own back here, unnecessary swords in your own back. Hanged Man and the Page of Pentacles. I feel actually a weird saving grace quality with this Page of Pentacles. I feel like this is an offer always. It's always a form of communication. Pages always are. There's a quality of like, hey, I've got a new idea. You want to check it out? I have a new thing. I have a new product. I have a new project I'd really love your input on. A new client kind of thing. And this is going to be, I think, your transition phase from this kind of not so focused place, not knowing really what to do, not knowing really how to handle this, to at least diverting your energy and your effort into one thing that you kind of know for sure, to something that is promising and that you actually can believe in. This is often a communication too, like if you're in a relationship. And I always say, take it at face value. It is what it is. It is genuine. Okay, it is a genuine offer, it is sincere, it is real, there's no lying here, but it's also very superficial. It's a little bit too surface level. And I think at this point, when we have the Nine of Swords and when we have the Moon, and then we also got the Hanged Man coming out, when we're dealing with these kinds of weird, elusive, illusionary, mental prison kind of energies, this is usually not enough in a romantic setting, or in a friendship setting when someone's trying to make amends. Like I said about forgiveness, right? Make sure that your asking for forgiveness is a little bit deeper than this. And if someone else is needing forgiveness, it's going to be hard, because you're going to have to be like, it's not really enough. Like it's not exactly what I need to hear. It doesn't really satiate that desire for peace kind of thing. So look out for that. Be careful for that. But if it comes to you in the form of work or creativity, absolutely go for it. I think there's something really great here that will help you feel like passionate about your day-to-day again, and to help you live in the moment. That's the great thing about Pentacles, is they really do help you live in the moment. When you have the 8 and the 9 reversed, you're not in the moment. You're not. You're worried about other things. You're not worried about the task at hand, and you're not disciplined, really. And we all go through phases of being disciplined and not being disciplined, and having a lot of willpower, and then that wanes and we kind of get lazy. I mean, we all have these cycles. So it's possible that many of you are going to be making commitments to consistency because you are tired of the waxing and waning of a certain area in your life. Hanged Man again. We're getting two kind of Neptunian qualities. Both of these cards are often associated with the sign of Pisces, which Yeah, there's not a lot really going on in with Neptune right now, actually. A little bit, but nothing super exciting, nothing to really write home about. So we're just kind of caught in this current. And when Venus starts going forward again, I think everything is going to be more clear. Jupiter is going to come into Sagittarius, and it's going to afford us an opportunity to understand, right? That's what Sagittarius is all about. It's all about the understanding. And we'll talk about that right now. Let's go ahead and dive into the stars. It's a weird time. It's interesting. Hopefully the Nine of Swords isn't too bad for you guys. It's just now, it's not a time to revert back to bad habits. Don't do that, Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Venus. Let's start with her. We all know about the retrograde. She's about ready to go back into the sign of Libra. Huge emphasis on our one-on-one partnerships. Right now, she's in a direct opposition with Uranus, so there is no foundational quality here at all. Any feeling of stability is illusionary. It is not real. And you can expect the unexpected. The best unexpected or the worst unexpected too. She's just past exact. She's just a few seconds off of Uranus. So she's going to be going back, but then she's going to be coming back again as she moves direct next week or this upcoming week. And she gets electrified, electrocuted maybe, electrocuted or electrified, however you wish to see it. And she's supercharged. We have an urge for, again, reevaluating our value system. That's why, our values and our habits can often go hand in hand. That's why our values and our habits are kind of under the microscope right now, and why now is not a time for us to revert backwards, because it can't be time for us to revert backwards. We have to change. That's what Uranus is saying. It is time for you to do it differently this time. And as Jupiter makes his way into Sagittarius for the first time since 2006, late 2006 and most of 2007, like when you think about 2007, I think about the real estate market, because I was here in Las Vegas, which is one of the most volatile markets. And all over, it was just unbelievable what was going on. But in Vegas, especially, was like one of the highest highs and the lowest lows in the country. And I remember everyone was talking about real estate, every single person. A few years later, I remember my economics professor at the university here was talking about 2007, 2008, 2006, 2007 specifically, when he was at the gas station one morning filling up his gas tank on the way to take his kids to school. And there were a couple of I don't want to say prostitute girls, but maybe strippers. He said they looked like ladies of the night is what he said. So I don't really know. I wasn't there. But he said there were these two stripper looking girls, and they were talking about how they had just purchased their 6th and 7th homes. And that was when he knew that it was time to get out of the market. So he sold his 10 properties at the height of the market. And this was all when Jupiter was in Sagittarius. We're entering into this phase of optimism. We're having the nodes transfer from the Leo Aquarius axis to the Cancer Capricorn axis now. The North Node right now is sitting at 0 degrees, 38 minutes of Leo. So it's really making its way there. And it's going to give us a huge shift away from our structures, right? Because we're kind of leaving our Capricorn stuff behind and focusing on Cancer, which is really our soul and our origin, and really reconnecting with who we are. I think that's what this Venus retrograde has been preparing us for, both the optimism of Jupiter and the understanding of what the last 12 years has really been. When you think back, and I use 10, 11 years a lot, because that was when Uranus was in Aries, right? So we did have a lot of stuff happening in 2007, so it's no wonder why 2008, what happened, and why the market crashed the way it did, because there was just such a huge electrified quality with everything. That's it. It was just big. And thinking back to 2007, going through the market crash, going through the depression, going through the romantic partnerships that just completely obliterated your sense of self, going through the extreme highs and the extreme lows. I mean, we really were on a roller coaster, I mean, without a doubt. But now we are 12 years older, and we can look back and see how that is cyclical. And if, I haven't been into astrology for 12 years, but, people who have been into astrology for 30 or 40 years, and it matures you because now you're like, okay, well, here we are in the cycle again. You can predict the economic cycles. You can predict the energetic cycles and, all this kinds of stuff. I genuinely believe that Jupiter in Sagittarius is going to inflate us, which is why now we are being humbled, because we need the humility to carry us through. There's going to be a wave of people that go through the mess of this Venus retrograde, and they just jump forward without really thinking, and then things are going to be going well, and they're going to be humbled later on, especially in January 2020. So you need to ride out this Jupiter Sagittarius with a sense of extreme humility and gratitude, and with nothing more, like if nothing else, reflection, and using this time to understand what this whole past cycle has really been. This whole past 12-year cycle from 2007. All the things coming together in one beautiful package for you to say, this had to be this way. And because Sagittarius, I often equate to like the Buddha level enlightenment, or the Dalai Lama, or anyone else. I often equate it to that. We have an opportunity to expand ourselves to that level, to expand ourselves, to really find the Buddha within us, and to study and to learn. This Mercury retrograde is such a gift, because it's going to kick off that creative fire energy that's just going to be like, I want to learn, I want to know. You may have some accidents where you just kind of blurt things out. That's kind of one thing of, the Sagittarian archetype that's very common is, just saying things without thinking. So the Mercury retrograde might amplify that even more. So consciousness will help. The more conscious you are, the less likely that is to happen. And actually, the Mercury retrograde is going to give you a really great running start to the Jupiter transit. Thinking with the right brain, thinking with creativity, thinking in a feminine, curvy, unpredictable, generative kind of way, and really connecting with life, really connecting with the life substance. And we're going to need that enlightenment to carry us through the Capricorn stuff in 2020. I suspect that there's going to be a huge number of enlightened people that just kind of sit back and watch whatever it is that's going to happen. It might not even really be, dramatic for you individually, but you may see like a government something crash, or a money market crash, or something like that. There's a whole bunch of different predictions out there, and I don't really claim to be, I don't try to do that because, why? But there's a huge group of enlightened people out there that are just going to kind of sit back and say, yeah, it's okay. Like, I knew the whole time, and it's okay. It's just life, because 6 months later, that transit's going to be completely over, and, we're going to be out of it. We're going to be making our way through, but there's going to be a huge number that gets so engrossed in what's going on that they just, again, completely lose themselves because they didn't take advantage of the spiritual component of Jupiter and Sagittarius. There's an opportunity for true healing, true healing. Again, Mercury preparing us for that. And then Venus coming again, right, following super close after that. So there's a lot to look forward to come December, January, February, March, these months. where all this is really beginning and really starting to unfold. What else is happening? Mars is sitting at 21 degrees of Aquarius now, so we're kind of getting into that Mars of Pisces. So Mars in Pisces next month, the imagination, I've got my Mars in my 12th house, so that is not a foreign energy to me. Extremely imaginative, very elusive. There may be some kind of feeling of wanting to isolate ourselves, wanting to pull back, wanting to restrict and refrain, and to it's just like, the only word that's coming to mind, it's like, can we just all just go meditate? That's like what's coming to my mind, is that there might be that feeling. I just want to meditate. And again, perfect way to begin that Jupiter transit in Sagittarius, and through meditation. You will have powerful meditations, especially as Mars comes in contact with Neptune. You'll have the ability to connect telepathically. You'll probably really connect with your guides very easily. And it's going to it's just like this balloon effect. And it's just going to be this compound thing, and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's going to take your spiritual practice to a whole new level. So now is the time to really take advantage. Use the lessons that you've learned. Use this time for reflection, learning, and expansion. Okay? All right, enough babble. That was a really long weekly bump. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you next week. Take care.